Good afternoon, students. Myself, Dr. Bhat from the Department of HNS. In the previous lectures, we have discussed about various environmental acts. Then we have discussed the waste management, either it may be solid waste management, municipal waste management, or hazardous waste management. Then we have discussed in the previous lecture about environmental impact assessment. Today's our lecture is an environmental management plan. So it is a type of document. Environmental management plan is a type of document that outline how the project will avoid, minimize and mitigate its potential negative impacts on the environment. यानी कि how the project impact have its negative impact on the environment, air, water and land during its entire life cycle. During its entire life cycle means from the design of the project to the decommissioning. It provides the environmental management plan provides the framework for managing a project's environmental performance by ensuring compliance and regulations. An environmental management plan includes the strategies for pollution control, waste management, resource conservation, the conservation of the resource, the resources should be conserved, and the monitoring of the environment, and is often a key requirement for obtaining project permits and approvals. Yani we should have a proper planning, to avoid, minimize and mitigate any potential threat to the environment while we are framing the project. So the steps are: environmental policy means we should have a proper planning. And that we should have a proper implementation. Then checking and corrections of the project. Then we should have to review the management of the project to avoid, to minimize and mitigate its potential harmful effects on the environment. What are the key components of environmental management plan? First is impact assessment, means we have to identify the potential environmental issues and we have to be aware and should identify their effect on the air, water, soil and local ecosystems. Then we have the mitigation measures. In mitigation measures, we should propose specific actions to prevent, reduce negative impacts such as pollution control and waste reduction strategies. These are the most important aspects of the environmental management plan that we should have to prevent, reduce the negative impacts such as pollution. We should have a proper pollution control. We should have a proper strategies for the waste reduction that comes under mitigation measures. Then there is the step that is monitoring and reporting. This is the third component, is monitoring and reporting. This defines how environmental performance will be monitored during the construction and operation phase. It includes the establishment of monitoring program and the use of personal protective equipments. Then we have a legal and institutional framework. In, in legal and institutional framework, we should have a detailed laws and regulations that should be followed to identify necessary permits and licenses and we should establish a well defined institutional setup for implementing the plan. Project life cycle coverage. What will be the life cycle coverage of the project? Yani ki we should address all the aspects of the project, including how to design a project, how to construct a project, how the project should be operated, and we mean operation and decommissioning. Then there is the waste management, that is important. It includes the plans to minimize wastes. We should have a proper recycling for the waste generation. We should have a proper recycling measures and we should have a proper management for the hazardous wastes that affects our environment, land, air, land, water, that directly affects the living component of the universe, most importantly humans. So we should have a proper waste management plan. Then what is the role that then we will discuss the role of environment management plan towards future. Yani we can call it as a sustainable future, towards sustainable future. An environmental management plan is a framework for minimizing negative impacts of the project on the environment. The environmental management plan is a process or we can say a framework by which we must minimize the negative impacts of the project on the environment. Yani in order to achieve the sustainable development, we have to achieve the sustainable development if we keep a check on the negative impacts of the project on the environment. It defines potential environmental risks. Yani we should propose the best mitigation measures. We should establish a system for monitoring and management throughout the project's life cycle. The core concept, what will be the core concept? The core concept is to balance. We should balance the economic and social developments with the protection of natural resource. Yani ki we should protect the natural resource. That is the important aspect of the environmental management plan for sustainable developments. Yani we should ensure the long-term viability for both the project and the environment. The project should be good and for longer terms, and we should have minimize the negative impacts of the project on the environment. We should protect the natural resources in order to maintain the balance between economic and social developments. So this is the important aspect. Social sustainability, we should have environmental sustainability, we must have economic sustainability, we must have resource sustainability, we must have energy sustainability for the future generations to come. For the future generations to come. These are the important aspects of environmental management plan towards the sustainable development. What are the key components and goals of environmental management plan? There are some key components that we should discuss here for the environmental management plan. One is the impact of mitigation. It includes the set of actions. Mitigation means to reduce or eliminate the negative impacts on the environment. So this one is very important. Mitigation means to reduce. We can minimize the negative impacts on the environment, such as we must have pollution control. We should properly manage the wastes, and we should protect the biodiversity. We should protect the biodiversity. Second component is the legal compliance. It ensures that project should adhere to all the related environmental laws and regulations. यानी कि project should follow all the regulations, all the rules of the, or we can say the environmental laws. It should follow that. And the third component is project life cycle management. Project life cycle management comprises the mitigation strategies for all phases of project, from construction to the operation. It should include all the strategies, all the phases of the project construction and its operation. Then the important component of the, or we can say the goal of environmental management plan is sustainable development. It should aim to provide a complete balance between economic development with complete assurance of environmental protection, directing investments towards sustainable practices like effluent treatment, emission control, and green belt development. Then one more component is the continuous improvement. The continuous improvement includes monitoring, auditing procedures to measure progress towards environmental targets and make adjustments as needed in order to foster a cycle of continuous improvements. This is all about how environmental management plan works, what are the different steps and components that we should focus in order to minimize the negative impact of the project on the environment in order to save the various components of the environment. If we are saving the environment, we are indirectly saving the life, and we are directly saving the beautiful planet that is known what we call as Earth. Thank you, students. It was today's lecture on environmental management plan, its components. Thank you. Thank you very much.